What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? First of all, now we're going on to the NFC record predictions. There were some stunners in the AFC on the last part. Some stunners, I know. I was shocking in how I thought that was going to pan out. But now we're moving on to the NFC. Sorry, my mind's blanking right now. We're going to start with the NFC East. Let's start with the last place team, the New York Giants at 5-11. I don't think they did enough to become a contender. I don't. First of all, Nate Solder is not a top-tier left tackle in the game. Now, my buddy Anthony's going to ridicule me for this, but, he's not a top... Nate Solder's not a top-tier NFL left tackle. He's not. He's not Tyron Smith. He's not Trent Williams. And he's not Jason Peters. He's not. Those are all the left tackles in your division. They still have the worst left tackle. And all of the praise going out there for Saquon Barkley, I'm slamming my foot on those brakes. Other than one 39-yard carry, the guy was -3, +2. That's not good. And people went out and said, oh, he's kind of like Adrian Peterson. He'll break off a big one. Then he'll have some small gains, maybe some losses, and then he'll rip off another big one. I don't see that. I watched them play in the preseason. Barkley played. First of all, nobody schemes in the preseason. So it's very easy to overreact. Nobody schemes in the preseason. But I'll tell you right now, the Giants will win 2 more games. They're more talented. I just don't. And I don't like the defense. That's the other thing I don't like. They're too slow for my liking. Let's move on to the Washington Redskins, who are at 6-10. Now, why do I have them at 6-10? Well, mainly because of the fact that, do I think they're a great team? No, I don't. But Alex Smith can make them a better team. But the defense still has some of its issues. The offensive weapons are not there. And other than that, I just don't see a situation where they're amazing. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Whatever. But it's one of those things where they have the talent, but they're not that great as a team. And then at 7-9, we have the Dallas Cowboys. My God, do these fans think they're the best thing on earth? I'll just list off what's wrong with the Cowboys. Right now, the offensive line's the biggest issue. Everyone's hurt except for one player, and it just happens to be your worst player. What else is wrong? Oh, the receiving core. Your number one's Allen Hurns, who was consistently a number 4 with Jacksonville. Your tight end was a number 3 on your team for years. And your defensive line is okay. It's okay. Your linebackers, the only thing I can say is when's Sean Lee getting hurt? Because he gets hurt every year. The second thing I got to say, or the third thing about the defense, secondary. It's looked okay. But you're going to get burned by Odell, and you're going to get burned by the Eagles. I just don't see how you can be competitive. Now, you're going to be the second-place team in your division, but you're 7-9. So what does that mean the first-place team? Is the first-place team 9-7? Are they 10-6? No, they're 11-5. The Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, they lose 2 more games than last year. They're playing a first-place schedule. But the 2 games I have them losing to, or the 2 more games I have them losing to, are Week 1 versus the Falcons, because they won't have Carson Wentz. But Week 8, first of all, nobody beats the Jaguars in London. Nobody does it, because the Jaguars are London's team. Okay? That's why. Now we go to the NFC North. The NFC North. I have the Bears at 7-9. Now, if the Bears are at 7-9, you know this is a good division. Getting Khalil Mack was huge for them. They have that star on defense. Roquan Smith, who knows when he can come back. I thought that was one of the best picks of the first round. Mitch Trubisky has to make the jump. He has to. And if he can't, I mean, they gave him the weapons. Allen Robinson was the best receiver in free agency. They gave him them. They signed him. Taylor Gabriel was a great number 3 in Atlanta. They signed him too. If they can't win more than 6 games, okay, let me rephrase that. If they don't win more than 6 games with the talent, I'll be surprised. But I wouldn't, because they're starting to rebuild with this new head coach, Matt Nagy. Okay? So let's move on to the 3rd place team, the 7-9 Lions. I don't think they got better. I think defensively they have some issues. Linebackers to me are the big issue. Christian Jones, I love Jared Davis, but I'm not a huge fan of Devin Kennard. Secondary is going to be good. Offensive line is going to be good. The running game's an issue. Passing game's not going to be a problem. But the defensive line is going to be an issue for me. That's my biggest issue, is the defensive line and the running game. That's the issue. That's why they're 7-9. Not fifth. We have, in second place, the Minnesota Vikings. 12-4. Kirk Cousins will make this team a bit better. But at the same time, defensively, they have the talent. Sheldon Richardson, with Linval Joseph, Everson Griffin, and Danielle Hunter, that's brutal. That defense has remained intact. It's the same one as last year. They just added a new slot corner in Mike Hughes. They're better. Offensively, the offensive line is the worst in the division. But it's done enough. Kirk Cousins, all he has to do is throw it. They get Dalvin Cook back. Minnesota Miracle hero, Stephon Diggs, still there. Adam Thielen, still there. They got to pay both of them. They paid Cousins. This team is on its way to a Super Bowl victory. They are a stacked and loaded team. And they have the best corner in the league, in my opinion, in Xavier Rhodes. They do. Now that leaves us with the first place team at 12-4, the Green Bay Packers. Getting Aaron Rodgers back, I think, is huge. Getting Muhammad Wilkerson to fill in on the D-line is huge. Now, they did lose one of their middle linebackers. That's a problem. But the secondary, I think, is improved. I think the defense is going to be well improved. Losing Jordy Nelson was big, but getting Jimmy Graham was also big. So I have them at 2 NFC North teams at 12-4. Let's go to the NFC South now. 6-10, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Jameis Winston suspension really screws them over, because they have the talent to be a second-place team and definitely a second-place team, because I don't think they're winning the division. They have the talent. They do. But the only thing I can really say about that is the Jameis Winston suspension. Third place in that division, Carolina Panthers, 8-8. Why do I think they go 8-8? I don't think they're as bad as years past. They're definitely not the 15-1 world beaters that they were. But Cam Newton has never been able to bring his team back to back winning records, which is why I have them at 8-8. I think they have the talent to have a winning record, but can Cam Newton be consistent? I remember saying after Super Bowl 50, when they went 15-1, they're not cracking 10 wins. I told my brother that. They're not cracking 10 wins. They went 6-10. This year, they're not cracking 10 wins. They're not doing it. Second place, I have the New Orleans Saints at 11-5. I like what they've done this offseason. They've added some defensive talent. But the big issue I have is that their first-round pick will not be able to contribute immediately. Marcus Davenport was one of the best pass rushers in the draft, and they reached for him, and they gave up too much for him, in my opinion. Offensively, they have the tools to be a great team. But no one's picking them to go to the Super Bowl for a simple fact. They don't have the defensive efficiency on the front line to be a Super Bowl contender. They don't. And yes, they're going to get sacks. Yes, they're going to do all this stuff. But they are injury prone up front. They are. And that leads me to my first place team in the division, the Atlanta Falcons, playing a third place schedule. They're going to have the best record in the league, 13-3. The Atlanta Falcons, if you look at what they've done, I thought, go add defense in the draft. Go add all of that. What did they do? Oh, wait, they went out and got Calvin Ridley. Pair him with Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu. Wow, that's going to be a great. Oh, wait, you have Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Wow. Offensive line still good. You still have Matt Ryan. And that defense, flying across the field. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. One of the best teams out there. Let's go to the NFC West. There shouldn't be any surprise here. Last place team, actually this one might be a surprise. It's the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know what they've done to make this team better. I just don't see it. You got rid of every old member of your team, which is fine. It's fine. But one of them went to a division rival. Two of them retired. And right now, trade talks are ensuing for Earl Thomas. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And the Seahawks, in my opinion, are going to suffer by that, and they don't have the players necessary to win. Third place, Arizona Cardinals. I think we are vastly underrating this team. I have them at 6-10. I have had them at 7-9. Defensively, they can be one of the best in the game. I love Chandler Jones. Love him. Led the league in sacks last year. Probably didn't know that. But let's be real. Sam Bradford, he is no slouch. Josh Rosen's the future. We know that. David Johnson, the best running back in the league, is coming back after dislocating his wrist. Freak injuries happen. He was the best player in 2016 offensively. No argument. None. They will be a better team than the Seahawks this year. Guaranteed. And that leads us to the second place team, the San Francisco 49ers. 8-8. They were a 10-6 team with McKinnon. But losing McKinnon, I think, is huge. They still have the tools to be a 500 team, and Garoppolo will get them over the hump. Defensively, I think they're great. I do think they're great. They have a brutal start to their schedule, though. Not really that brutal. They'll start in Minnesota. Then they are at home against Detroit. I think they'll win those games. They won't win. I don't think they'll win against Minnesota, but they will win against Detroit. And yeah, they don't have Reuben Foster for the first 2 weeks, but whatever. But there's a huge discrepancy between the first place team in that division and the rest of that division, and that's the Los Angeles Rams at 12-4. Now, I'm sorry I couldn't give them a 16-0, a 15-1, because they have Ndamukong Suh, they have Marcus Peters, they have Aqib Talib, and they probably have one of the best defenses in the league because they are all elite. But what is synonymous with all of the players I just named? They all have been once considered locker room cancers. Aqib Talib has gotten in fights on the field. He rips off Michael Crabtree's chain.